Hello everyone, welcome to the recording of Microsoft Defender Masterclass 1 that took place on 13th of January, event for partners to improve skills, build skills in Microsoft Defender. So in that session we covered Microsoft Defender for endpoints, covered some attack scenarios, provided hands-on access to lab, and then finished off the afternoon with a Power Platform integration lab showing how we can integrate Teams, Power Platform Flow with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint to, I suppose, add automation and efficiency and sort of create awesome alerts, notifications in Teams to allow people to quickly react and act on alerts as they arrive. However, the challenge with that event was we were unable to record anything, so I'm pleased that we're able to record these offline and provide you access to them. So for this recording, myself and Mark will be running through attack scenario 1, and then we'll have further recordings, so look out for those. My name is James Graham, so I'm a Cloud Solution Architect in our OCP division, so focused on working with partners to help build out compelling security solutions, mainly from a threat protection perspective, so Defender for Endpoint, MDR solutions, managed SOC solutions, and also cover identity solutions as well. Mark, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, my name is Mark Thomas. I'm part of the Customer Acceleration team, or CAT team, working with customers on Defender for Endpoint deployments, but also working alongside the product group to bring insights in from those customer deployments.
Awesome, thanks, mate. So just a quick note, so all of our resources you can access at the repo, so aka.ms/defendermasterclass-repo, and as always we'd appreciate your feedback on this, the event. Yeah, it's really important that we get that feedback so we can shape the future sessions to ensure they meet what you need. So a quick note before we move on. Depending on when you're watching this, Defender Masterclass 2 planned for March, so it'll be more threat hunting, deeper threat hunting, and Power Platform integrations is the current plan. But we're also trying to incorporate some of your feedback around providing guidance on best practice and stuff. And then Masterclass 3, looking circa May. Finally finishing off with Capture the Flag session in June. So without further ado, going to just get the right slide up. Yeah, so we're going to cover off, in this recording, we're going to cover off attack scenario 1 that we covered off in the event. So I'm just going to hand over now to Mark, and Mark will walk through that scenario with you all. Over to you.
Thanks, James. Is that screen coming through?
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, during the event, these basically we covered these two scenarios, so scenario 1 and scenario 2. So during this recording, I'll take you through scenario 1. And again, during the event, we had access, so it's just for me to cover this, and so you've got something to go back to. If we click into scenario 1, so this is within the Defender Security Center. This is what we call an incident. It's where the alerts that are being surfaced up have been brought together in what we call an incident. So we can already see there's 3 alerts that are contained with this incident. And there's a lot of high level information that we can see straight off the bat with this incident. So we can see the severity of the alerts. We can see things like the devices involved and the users potentially involved as well. We can also see from the tabs along the top, devices. So again, if there were more devices involved with this incident, either through similar alerts, similar file types, similar attacks. Those devices would be brought into this incident. We can see the investigations that were kicked off. So we can see here that antivirus was the detection source, and these were remediated as well. So that all looks good from that point of view. And then from the incident view, we can also see the evidence that's been involved. So looking through the files that were picked up or part of this incident, we can see here that some of these have been remediated. As we click through, we can see things like the processes involved, PowerShell, minor D, and any URLs as well that are involved with this incident. So we can click into these and gain more information, more insights around this incident. And lastly, we've also got the graph. This is a nice high-level way of viewing the incident, the devices that were involved, again, the file types, and some of the actions that were included there. So this is sometimes a good contextual way just to understand at a high level the incident or the attack. So from there, we can dive into the alerts. So one way to do this is actually looking by first activity. So if we sort the column, we can see this all started with this alert, and we can dive into this alert. From here, it's going to give us what we call the alert story. So this is contextual information that may be useful for this alert. So things like the process tree, other alerts that are associated as well with this alert. We'll also get on the alert page. I'm zoomed in quite a lot, but if I scroll down, we can see an alert description. So for this alert, this gives us really good high-level information about the alert. And then recommended actions. So depending on the alert that you see, it's going to depend on the things like the recommended actions, the description there. So it's always worth checking this and seeing what this alert is alerting you to, and then the recommended actions to take from there. And then if we scroll down, we see other high-level information again around the incident and the impacted assets for this alert. So we can see here we've got a process tree. We've got browser broker here. So this is the Microsoft Edge downloader executable. This is what is used, I suppose, within Edge to download files. We can see that the zip CPU miner has been downloaded, and we can see here it's actually been prevented. So we've given this a severity of informational. It looks like it's been written to the disk. And then at that point, Defender is actually preventing this. So we prevented this from running on the device, and that's been done using Defender AV.
And was that an automated prevention that would have taken place, Mark?
Yeah, so this would have been Defender AV running on the box. What we did is we saw potentially suspicious or unwanted software, and that's Defender AV just doing its normal what we call real-time protection. That could be done by signatures or behavioral analysis of what's running on the system at that time. And we can see things like the on-access side of things here as well. So yeah, so we can see from these alerts, it's been attempted to be downloaded. It's been prevented by the real-time protection within Defender AV. So what we can then do is start to look for the other alerts that we've got here. So we can see again that we've seen more mining literals, as we're calling it, and a coin miner as well has been blocked. So if we jump into the next alerts, again, we can navigate through the alert story. We can see some PowerShell commands happening. So what we can do is run through each of these and start to understand the types of PowerShell commands that are being run. We can see a prompt. We can see navigation to downloads, and then we can see minor D as well. starting to run. So it looks like what is happening is PowerShell is being used to start miner D on the system. And we can also see here alerts that we're now blocking this as well. So it looks from the alerts that this coin miner has got to the point of running. We've detected this running on the device. Then we can see that Defender has detected this and then has blocked this as well. So it'll need a little bit more investigation to understand why has this got to the point of running. We could see alerts for a coin miner being prevented in the first place, but then later on we can now see that this has got to the point of running. What we can do is jump into the timeline. So from the alert page, we can jump into the timeline. From here, this is going to give us I suppose, more detailed information around everything that was happening on the device and the events that were occurring at that time. So like we saw in the alert story, we can see that PowerShell is starting miner D. And what we'll need to do is just navigate down through here and start to understand some of the events that were happening.
So it's interesting, and so the previous view you were on was just essentially showing the alert time frame. So pretty much I suppose the malicious activity time frame of events, whilst this timeline view is pretty much showing everything that I suppose the sense agent has picked up on that device, both malicious and normal.
Correct. So this will be everything, what we call cyber data from the device that is collected via that sense agent. Within the alert story, what we try to do is bring as much contextual information up as possible around those alerts. And depending on the alert, you'll see all the information that you need, and there are occasions where you then need to jump out into the timeline to start understanding what has happened.
Got it.
So as we back through here, we can see, again, browser brokers being used. We can see browser broker, this is the Edge downloader, downloading the CPU miner again. And you can see there's a whole host of events that we're collecting on this device. And then something that stands out is actually these msnpng commands. So the msnpng, that's the Defender AV engine. So we can see here, Defender platform. What this means is that something is happening within the engine. Some either configuration changes are happening. If we look into some of these keys and processes or events, we can start to understand what's happening. So from here, we can see disable real-time monitoring has been changed from 0, so not being disabled, to 1, so into a disabled mode. So this is starting to make a little bit more sense about why we saw the coin miner blocked in the first instance, and then it's able to run kind of a few minutes later on. From here, it looks there's a few things that are worth mentioning here. That generally a user is going to need something like local admin to be able to perform those actions. So what we can do is actually look on the device and actually understand what is Zach running as. Is he a standard user or is he a local admin? And we can see here Zach's got local admin permissions. So with local admin, that gives him a lot of rights on the security configurations on that device. So he is able to disable real-time protection on Defender AV. One way that can be mitigated is using something like Tamper Protection. So if Tamper Protection was enabled, even as a local admin, Zach wouldn't have been able to disable real-time protection. And that can be enforced in a few different ways, and it can also be, I suppose, checked for compliance as well, either within Defender for Endpoint or within tools such as Intune or Microsoft Endpoint Manager.
So for those that don't know, can you, I suppose, just summarize what tamper protection is quickly?
Yep. So tamper protection is a key capability alongside Defender AV. It's built into the Windows 10 operating system. It's there to protect the key configurations within Defender. So stopping either malicious software, attackers, or people or users like local admins being able to tamper with and change the settings of Defender AV locally on the device. It also helps us alert on some of those things as well. So if we see, again, malicious programs trying to change Defender AV settings, we can create alerts on those as well. And you'll see those within the Security Center portal.
Awesome. It's almost like attaching little bells to all these things. So when anything unexpected or unauthorized starts to tamper with these, then those bells will start sending off alerts. And I suppose also it's great because one of the first things malware or malicious activity will want to do on an endpoint is start to switch off things like real-time protection, cloud protection in Defender AV.
Yep. And we'll create alerts on that if we see it. Cool. So what we've seen from the incident, if we go back to the alerts, we can see at this point it's informational. What happened is Defender AV has kicked in and stopped this from running. We've then seen Zach through in the timeline using PowerShell to disable real-time protection. That then allows him to re-download the software, use PowerShell to run the miner, which we saw here. We can see here he's probably given something like the Bitcoin wallet or the exchange that's been used to mine those coins and somewhere to put the coins. Then we see Defender AV detecting this. So what we can see is this could be protected against in a few different ways. If Defender AV had been turned off for a longer period of time, we still detect that the software is running, and we can still say that we've observed it. So you can see here we've actually got an EDR source. So within the data we're receiving, we're actually saying we've seen this malicious software running on the device. And then from there, a few things can happen. We've seen real-time protection is actually re-enabled on this, and that's probably due to a policy. So if we did go through the timeline, we'd understand how real-time protection was enabled again. But we could also kick off things like automated investigations. So as we see this malicious software running on the device, generally what we do is then kick off an automated investigation, and that can then clean up the device as well. So if we see things like malicious malware that hasn't been blocked by Defender AV, we can kick off those automated investigations. During the lab, we also had some examples of advanced hunting. So we can quickly build out some of those as well, which were relevant to this scenario. So one of the simple ones has been able to report on if disable real-time monitoring has been disabled across the organization or on other devices. So we can use the device registry events table. What this will have in it is all the data for the last 30 days across all devices around device registry events, or we can look into different tables depending on the data that we want, whether that's logon events, file creation events, process creation events, those kind of things. We can then use simple queries to start querying this data. Value name. So we're looking for a certain value name. If we looked again through the timeline, we can pull out these registry keys that we're looking for. This is a very simple query. It's not optimized in any way. We would normally build these out and then optimize them. Might need to go back a little bit further. And here we can see we've for this disable real-time monitoring registry key, we can see that it's been changed locally on this device. This is the same device that we've just been investigating. Depending again on the events, it may give us more information about who did it, the process that was involved, and we can check all that within here. And we can build kind of bigger and bigger queries depending on the things that we're looking for. This is a very simple query, and this is going to give us the changes that we saw within disable real-time monitoring for Defender. So that covers scenario 1 just at a high level. We can build up more hunting queries. That there could be queries that we look for. When has the IP address been used? So we saw that the Bitcoin miner was downloaded from a certain website. It may be that we want to search for that across the organization. We can do that in advanced hunting. We could also do that through things like here. We can search for URLs or IPs and start to understand, is this contained to one device, or do we see these URLs, these behaviors happening across other devices? So yeah, that wraps up scenario 1. Are there any other questions from you, James?
No, I don't have any, Mark. Thank you. So that ends this short recording on scenario 1. We'll be looking to do scenario 2 shortly, so look out for that on the repo. If I just take back over. So yeah, look out for more information, more updates on other masterclass sessions, events, recordings at our repo, aka.ms/defendermasterclass-repo. And as always, please, your feedback's important to us. Let us know what you want to see, what's working, what's not working at Defender Masterclass feedback. Look out for further masterclass events in the future on these topics. Thank you all, and see you soon.
Thank you.